What's going on, y'all? 75Junction, it's your boy Sharon. We're here at the Hampton Roads Expo once again, and I'm here with the lovely Miss Berry. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm okay.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So, for those who don't know, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
So my name is Andrea, and in the music industry, I go by Miss Berry. I am an author. I'm a CEO of a clothing line online,
Okay.
Cozy Essentials. I have a foundation, Miss Berry Cares Foundation. I run an event called Moms Who Rock. ROC stands for Raising Our Children. And in that particular event, I give awards to some celebrity moms, but particular to moms in the community. And we do like a panel discussion, and we just network with each other. I have a management company as well, Miss Berry Enterprises.
Okay.
And I'm also the mother of Brashear Gray, who plays Empire, who plays Hakeem on Empire.
Okay, that's quite the extensive list. So, do you ever feel overwhelmed with all the things that you have going on, or do you have like a management? Well, you say you have a management company, but that management company, do they also help you manage like all your other avenues that you dabble in?
It does, but because I'm actually the talent now, like I managed my son all the way to second season of Empire, and then I
Okay.
passed the torch over so I can manage my own brand. But then I found out that I had to get a manager for myself. So because I'm actually the talent now, so even though I have skills in management, it's hard to manage yourself
Right.
and all the entities and all the things that I do. And then I'm still a part of my son's career as well. So
I got you.
it's a lot.
I mean, it's a good thing though too, because I mean, you being a manager, you also know what a manager should have, what aspects they should have about them, how they conduct themselves. You know what to look for. So
Right.
I guess it does help you in the long run too, as
Yeah.
far as identifying like who's a good manager and a bad manager.
Right.
So having your son be Hakeem on Empire, what was that like as far as like when he first got the role? Like, can you explain the experience like that your son had and the moment that you guys shared essentially?
Yeah, are you asking how he got it, or like how I was feeling when he got it?
So how you guys were feeling, kind of. So obviously when
Oh, we
you
were
auditioned for the
happy.
role and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I got the role. Like, so what was that moment like for you guys?
The moment, well, I had been managing him as a rap artist and trying to develop him into a quadruple threat, which means that not only could he rap, that I wanted him to sing, I wanted him to dance, I wanted him to model, anything legal he was going to be doing.
Okay.
And so therefore I had to nurture all of his talents and pull all of it out and put him into artist development and show him that he can do all those things. So once I did that, when he did a performance, he would go into acting mode without even knowing it. So he would go from Brashear to Yaz. So that means that he would be with his dancers and his band. I put a live band behind him.
Okay.
They would have to exchange clothes in between sets, which that's something that none of them knew how to do within 2 seconds, because it was a whole set. It was a production. Anytime we perform, it was like a production. So I kind of like trained him without him knowing that, how to act. So I brought in another manager who I felt like had a longer arm to get him to where I needed him to get. And that manager called me and asked me, would Yaz be interested in acting? And I said, I didn't ask him. I was like, sure, he's going to do it. And so when I talked to him about it, he was like, okay. And then once he got the role, because I practiced with him, I was Cookie, he was Hakeem. And when we actually did the audition, they wanted to do an audition via video first. And he actually came up with the idea of putting makeup on, because the scene they wanted him to do was the scene after he got punched from Taraji. He had to do a scene with a black eye. They didn't ask him to put makeup on to have a black eye. He called my makeup artist, had them put the makeup on him like he had a black eye, so they can see the full effect of what he can do, which I thought was brilliant. That was all his idea. So we did the audition, we filmed him. The next day we get a call saying that they wanted to fly him out. So I'm all excited. I'm done called out from work, because I still work my full-time job. I've been there for 19 years. I work in the medical field.
Nice.
So we get the call that they want him to come now. Fox they want to see him in person. And I'm like, I'm going to, and this, that, and the third. So it was the last, they was going to pay for him, because he's an adult. They're not going to pay for the parent. So I had to find a way to get a flight. I got on my flight first, and he missed his flight. So when he missed his flight, I was like, oh my God, they not gonna want him now because he done missed his flight. So I done got all the way to LA. And that's when I realized, because my phone wasn't on, that he wasn't coming. Now I'm depending on him to get in his room because I can't afford to get a room. And he done missed his flight. So I'm like, where I'm going to stay? So the airport actually got me a room at the hotel. And because I was like, I'm not flying right back. That was 6 hours. I'm not flying all the way back. So I flew back the next day. Fox decided to say, you know, we really like him. Lee Daniels too. They was like, well, I really like him. I want to see what he can do. So they flew him back like the next day. I couldn't come back. So they flew him back. He went for the audition. And as he was auditioning, Lee was like trying to give him like pointers on what to do, because he's never acted a day in his life except for when I had him on stage.
Oh, wow.
So he never had acting lessons. So he's in there, he's auditioning, and Taraji and Terrence walks in.
Oh, wow.
And because mind you, that wasn't even the day he was supposed to audition. So they just happened to be there. So Lee Daniels was like, let me see you with Taraji and Terrence. And so he did the whole scene with them. Next thing I know, they sent them back. A couple of days later, I'm at home, just coming home from work, and we get a call. Well, my son got the call on his phone saying that by Lee Daniels, and he was like, I'm just calling to say hello to Hakeem.
Oh, wow.
And so I done fell down the steps because I done started rolling on the floor. I'm saying, thank you, Lord. Everything. I done knocked him off to the next room. And we was just jumping up for joy. And I had a glass of wine and everything. Like, I was just like so excited. And then from that point on, they did the pilot for it, and then they connected Brashear and Jesse together because they had to have a bond, because they wanted it to be real. Because they didn't know each other. So they FaceTiming FaceTime each other to go over the scripts together until they was able to fly him in, for where they were, for a location. Right. And they picked Chicago. So that we was happy.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I can only imagine, as a parent, obviously you want your child to succeed. You want your child to do good things in life. And when an opportunity like that comes along, it's like, I'm genuinely happy for my child, because that's your livelihood too at the end of the day, because I mean, obviously the child's gonna take care of the parent too, especially later on down the road, all right, I changed your diaper, now it's your turn to change mine,
Absolutely.
Not literally,
but
don't do that for real.
It's supposed to be that way, but I don't really depend on my son, because that's why I still work my job, my full-time job. I've been here 19 years, and I love medical benefits. And in the entertainment business, if you're a manager or if you're doing other things, like you don't always get those benefits. You got to create that, of your own, like getting Cobra or something, like, which is way more expensive. And plus, I decided, because he was so young, I didn't really know which way he was going to go as far as taking care of the parent. Right. Okay. So I was an independent woman from day one, and I'm going to continue to be that way. Okay. If I need something, I'm going to call, and if I don't get it, it's going to be a problem. Right. But as far as me leaving my job, I was working 2 jobs. I did quit one job. I was at one job for 17 years, another hospital right across from where the hospital I work at now. Wow. So I would go from place to place. I worked 2 jobs. That's crazy. So me working all these entities now in my business is nothing to me, because I was doing it, working 16 hours, going home, coming back, going from one place to the other, sometimes working 24 hours straight because nobody knew. I was just going right across the street. Wow. So for me, I just, keep my own, situation going on as far as the job. And if I need to call on them, I will. Okay. And if not, if he acts funny, I'll just take a flight.
Pull up on him and
take my stance like I'm about to play ball.
I feel you on that. Okay, I got you. So let's talk a little bit about, you said you were an author. So yes, let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of brought you towards that, amongst doing sometimes 24-hour shifts and going back and forth between hospitals? What got you involved in doing that?
Well, I actually always wanted to write a book, but didn't know how. Like some of the similar stories as what Sheena was saying, and I just prayed to God. I just said, you know what, I want to write a book. And I just always believe in the power of the tongue. I believed it wholeheartedly. So I didn't know when I was going to do it. I just knew I didn't know what I was going to write about. I just know I have so much in me that I want to talk about, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So after Bashir got on the show, he started doing charity work where he would go. Actually, it was him and Meek. They would go and they would speak at homeless shelters in Philly, detention centers, and I would go too because I just want to be there and I want to see what's going on and I wanted to be a part of it. And they did like 8 places in one day. Like it was like so draining. Oh, wow. And during that time, he spoke about his ADHD. So once he spoke about it, that gave me that made me say I need to speak about it because he's talking to the children and I need to deal with the parents because we're the key. Right. So, and then I also understood that he was now semi-comfortable with talking about it. So it took 3 years for me to write about this particular subject because I wanted to make sure he was comfortable about it because at first he wasn't comfortable with his diagnosis. He's not all the way there, but he was comfortable enough to talk about it. So I said, you know what? I want to write an inspiring, encouraging book to people who may be going through some of the challenges that I went through as a parent and as a single parent. And just to let them know, too, that you can get through anything because in my book, the first thing I discuss is me being a survivor of domestic violence. I have a front tooth that is not real. It's fake because that's how bad I was beaten. I was 7 months pregnant by Bashir's father. And it took one time for me. I was disfigured. And I talk about it because I want, whether you were the male going through domestic violence or a female, to understand you don't have to stay in the situation because you have a child by that person. You can get through it. And after I talk about that, I do discuss the challenges of being a single mom and having a child with a disability because when you're a single mom, all you focus on is food, water, and shelter. And being that provider. And then when you get a word that your child has a diagnosis of a disorder, then you know that's going to take you out of your focus and that means that, you know, something possibly you're going to have to give up. So that meant, like for me, working 16 hours a day, I had to not work 16 hours to provide because I need to see what's going on with my child. And then not only that, I had another child who didn't have a disability, was a growing young female. So I'm worrying about teen pregnancy because if I'm not in the home, then who's being there for her? So then I had to put support around them, my mother or my father or their godparents, because I had to continue to work, but I still did what I needed to do, take him to therapy, make sure he had his medication, still participating in school and things of that nature, and keeping him in sports. I kept him in football. He was supposed to be a football star. He was so good. He was actually, when he got hurt, he got hurt real bad. He was actually going to be scouted.
Oh, wow.
Because he was that good. He got hurt real bad and his arms broke in 2 places. And I was there. I witnessed it. And it's like it was one of those plays where the quarterback was supposed to do like this crazy slick thing in the hole, and he was supposed to get it and run, and then the quarterback threw it too far. Bashir went to get the ball. He protected the ball and got up. As soon as he got up, the biggest guy on the other team jumped on him, and while he was getting up, so it snapped his hand. He didn't realize his hand was broke. I saw it. So he grabbed the rock and was running because he was a great running back. Like, they couldn't catch him. And until he realized his hand was dangling, and then he collapsed. And then it was a 6-month period of recovery. And that's when I talked him out of being a football player. So that was 9th grade. He wasn't doing that. So during that recovery time is when he decided to be a rapper. Because he had nothing else to do. He couldn't go outside. I was like, no, you're not doing that. So that's how he became a rapper. So
I got you. Well, and that, I mean, your story that you wrote about and that you tell is very powerful. You know, because a lot of people they feel trapped in relationships, and like you said, they feel trapped because they have a kid or whatever. And you know, in some cases, unfortunately, it becomes too late as far as domestic abuse is concerned. You know, because it does progress, you know, as it goes on. So the
Right.
fact that you put your foot down immediately is good, you know, and people need to do that more often because, I mean, and the people that are committing it, they need to get help, you know, because I mean, you shouldn't be doing that to people, period. You know, I mean,
Right.
everybody.
But they sick, and
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
sick. And the thing about it is, like, for me, it's like I love God, I love myself, and I love my children.
Absolutely.
So if I felt like if he did this to me, I knew that he would do it to my children,
Yep.
and one of them wasn't his. I didn't have my daughter around as it is because around him as it is because for me it's like I wasn't married. I already had one child out of wedlock, so I was
Right.
real careful. Like I would get up in the morning, take care of my daughter, do everything I need to do for her, and then because I live with my mom, then I put her to bed, and then I would go to Brashear's father's house, and that's why my daughter wasn't there when I got beat so bad. But it wasn't because I didn't come home. My mother had to come get me because I was embarrassed the way I looked, and she came and got me, and because she knew my regimen was I would get up, and I was home by 5 a.m. to take care of my daughter. Like I would stay there overnight, but then I would leave. You know, and when I didn't come home, my mom came and got me, and she saw me, and then I had to get a restraining order, things of that nature, and handle things that way.
Jeez.
So I talk about that in the book. I talk about Brashear's ADHD and being a single mom, and I also talk about my management skills and how our artists developed and the things that I did to pour into him and to nurture his gifts. And also about me keeping my morals, integrity, and character as a woman in the industry because I had a Me Too moment, whereas though someone that I reached out to thought that they can feel and touch on me and think that I was going to allow that just for them to get my son to where he was. And I just had to take my stance once again and let them know who I am and how intelligent that I was and that you must don't know who his mother is. I said, so you can go ahead and try to play these games if you want, but you're going to see what I'm talking about. You know, that I don't need that. And that's not happening.
Right.
So that's what I talk about in my book.
Okay. Well, that's got to be a good read then. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, your son being in the industry as far as like entertainment is concerned. Do you feel a need to protect him? Because obviously he's in the limelight now. He's got a lot more attention to him. So what is that like from a parent's perspective?
It could be difficult at times, but Brashear is very smart. He's very smart, and I put enough people around him to help him throughout. And also, when he's on the set of Empire, like everyone was very good with. They are very protective over him. Like even me and Taraji be going toe to toe. Like I'm like, that's my son. She's like, that's my son. I'm like, I got the birth certificate. You know, like sometimes I feel like they really believe that's their kid. Like I'm like, listen, I got proof. I got receipts.
Right.
So, you know, they're very protective over him and they watch over him. I remember when Brashear first got on Empire, he posted something. Taraji called him and was like, I wouldn't do that. Take that off. She all crazy as all that. Yeah, so,
Okay.
But it's right now because his ADHD don't leave because he's a celebrity. So right now it's more so protection. So sometimes I put 24 hours security on him because he want to go out. He just think he could just go and do stuff. And I'm like, dude, like you've been on this season for 6 years. Like you really think you can just... Yeah, you have to move differently, but because he's, you know, when they are celebrities, they are confined. So sometimes they just want to go and do regular stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, that can't happen right now. You can't, you know, this is what you wanted. So, but you gotta, you know, safety is number one.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why I tell everybody that wants, you know, the fame and all that stuff. I'm like, well, you know, it's a double-edged sword because, everybody knows your name. But because everybody knows your name, you can no longer live a normal life. You can't go all the places you used to be able to go. You can't go buy groceries and
we can't
not
go
get
to
recognized.
The mall. We go. I be like, let's go to the mall like 9 a.m, and still, I recall a time we went to the mall like literally like they were chasing him down the hall. Them girls.
Wow.
And then they inbox me and be like, can you? All kind of stuff. Like you just don't know. Like
so the girls shoot they shot through you. Like
they be trying to get to me because a lot of parents are not in the limelight,
right?
You know, and I have my own brand,
right?
So it's a little bit easier so they think that they can get to me as opposed to like Ms. Norwood or or like Trey Songz's mom or something like that.
Right.
Because, Ms. Nova is like in the background. Everybody know her, but she is not like all the stuff like we do, like constantly on the gram and everything else. So I have a team just for stuff like that.
Okay.
So, because I have to be safe as well.
I got you. Okay. And then just tracking back to your medical background. So, what is it that you do exactly in the medical field?
So I'm a unit coordinator. I run 3 critical care units. I went to school for nursing, but I did not complete it because of all the things that I was going through with Yas when he first started. I do plan to go back to school.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, get my businesses to where I need them to be. I also do real estate as well. I'm doing some education on myself in reference to that. But this business requires a lot of work. And then at times, sometimes I have to leave work in my uniform and go straight to Chicago where he is. I have to fly to him, and then I'll come back the next day. Okay. So I'm very busy.
I see. So is there anything that you don't do? There's a lot of things.
Well, I don't do negative, and I don't do foolishness.
Okay. Well, there
period.
You go. No, I understand that completely. That's good. Okay. Well,
yeah. My management company, I manage 26 people. I have a husband that has 2 wives and 27 kids. So I'm shopping their TV show now. Okay. I have a couple people interested in them. So I'm real busy with them. And I have a couple other people I'm looking at as well. And then I also work with my sister, Gabby and Tamaya.
Right.
We're just like we help each other.
Okay.
So I just come through, like, I had a bunch of stuff to do, but Tamaya called me and said, if this is what she's having, I'm coming and I'm going to do whatever you need me to do. I'm not going to just sit behind the table. I'm here to get my feet wet, my hands dirty, what you need. That's just how we are.
Okay, I got you. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know people are busy and there's a lot going on. So is there anything that you want to add on a concluding note?
I would like to add, and I want to speak to the parents first. I just need the parents to listen to your children. Be there for your children. It doesn't matter if it's medical driven or career driven. Your children need you to advocate for them. If you don't want to be a manager, advocate enough where you can find the right person for your child. And be involved. You don't have to be the manager, but be a part of whatever they're doing, because it's needed. Like it's so much stuff that's going on that's not right. Yeah. And that they need us to be there. They need us. And then to the artists, I just need you to step out of the box. Don't put yourself in the box. My son wanted to be a rapper. There's nothing wrong with being a rapper, and I'm not gonna say just a rapper, but his career path, he wants to be a rapper. And I said, no, you're going to be a triple threat. Okay. Because it's a million rappers out here. What's going to set you aside from someone else?
Absolutely.
We ain't wasting no time with none of that foolishness. You going to stand out because just like Elijah was said, when he came into the room, I'm going to just tell this quick story. Jay-Z do this event in Philly called Made in America. And before my son got on Empire, I was traveling. I would drive 24 hours to Wisconsin. It's this rapper, this artist called Tone Trump. Okay. And Tone Trump said, y'all get there, y'all can get on any show that I get on because I bang with you. I said, all right, cool. You ain't saying nothing. I packed 6 people in a little car, and we had 1 hotel room. We went to Wisconsin. When we got there, I sent my street team. I said, go to the malls and let people know. I had my own flyers with his face, everything on it. I said, go to the mall, let people know where you're gonna be. I'm gonna sleep in a hotel until y'all come back. Okay. But I had my security with him. We go to the venue, we perform. The next day, like 5 a.m, we back on the road again. We was only there for 4 hours. Oh wow. And we all stayed in one room, right? And the next spot we went to was came to Virginia, Alexandria. Same thing. This time we had 8 people. I thought we was gonna get locked up because we had so many people in the car. You know how they stop you? Yeah. And that's just what we do. But one thing is you gotta just do what you gotta do. I had a lot of people tell my son no because they thought he was a singer. They said he don't rap.
Mm-hmm.
He looked, basically because the way he looked.
Right.
He don't rap. He doesn't rap, but then when he opened his mouth and spit, you'll see, what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did, I created a lane for him. I had to create a lane for him. Okay, he can't be in this lane. Oh, y'all saying he ain't good enough for that one? Okay, well, we gonna create one.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I finished with him, people was paying us $1,500 for their child's Sweet 16 because they knew I was coming with my dancers, my band, my smoke machine, our outfits, a gift, and roses. I put a whole production together.
It's basically a package.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They knew there was going to be a show, all for 15 minutes. 15 or 20 minutes. And and like I said, Jay-Z did he do Made in America.
Mm-hmm.
And my son, he was like, Mom, I'm going to perform I'm going to be on the stage one day. I said, I know you're going to be on the stage because you forgetting who your mother is. So when Jay-Z first did it,
mm-hmm.
we found out where the hotels was because it was close by. I was like, all right, you're going to get your stylist. We're going to dress you up. We had new Meek because Meek was in the same studio as we were.
Mm-hmm.
So my son went down there first. He went down there with his crew. And Meek saw him because Meek was going in there. He was like, yes. He was like, come on in. You can come on in this hotel because they wouldn't let you in the hotel without you having a key. Right. So Meek was like, come on in here. You can come in here with me or whatever. So he come in there. So Meek was like, all right, I got to go. And so it was like a 2-day event. Mm-hmm. So he was in there and my son called me. He's like, Mom, I'm going to get us some tickets and you going to come. And because I know you really want to come. I was like, all right. Okay. So the next day, he's like, Mom, I'm up in this hotel and they think I'm somebody. I said, because you are. Don't you know he went there, the doorman opened the door and let him in.
Damn, just off rip.
Just let him in.
Okay.
And so he called me. He was like, Mom, you got to get down here now. So I had to call somebody that can drive me because I didn't have nowhere to park. And I found somebody to drive me down there, drop me off. We was in there. We met all these different people. We met Jay-Z silent partner. Oh, wow. And everything. I was passing out his CDs, everything. Because some people that was there that know us now remember the CDs. They said, I still have the CD that you gave. And then the next year, Yaz was on Made in America.
Wow.
He was on stage performing.
That's crazy.
So I'm saying to the artists, don't never give up. You got to create your own lane. Somebody tell you no, create your own lane. Mm-hmm. Do stuff nobody else is doing. Nobody had dancers. And my dancers wasn't twerk dancers because I'm a ballerina by heart because I went to school for it. Mm-hmm. So I know how to put a show together. Put a show together. Don't just put a set. Don't just put songs together and just think you put a set together. Let them see that you're an entertainer. You want people to pay to see you. You want people to pay attention to you. They want to pay attention to entertainment. They like to see a show. And there were times where we were performing in bars. I took my whole team, but my dancers knew that if the stage was this big, then only 2 of y'all gonna be able to perform. So they know how to conform to that.
Okay, that's good.
But I had my whole production team, and we put on the show whether it was 2 people or 1 person in the audience, because that 1 person could have been somebody from Def Jam Records. You just never know. Mm-hmm. You always put your performance in whether it's 1 person, if it's nobody there, because somebody could be standing in the hall and hear your music,
right,
and come in and see. That's how we did it.
Okay, that's awesome. That's truly inspiring because, again, like you said, what you want could just be right around the corner. It's just a matter of placing yourself in the right place at the right time. So that's definitely powerful. So where can people find you as far as social media is concerned?
Social media on Instagram is Miss Berry Biz. That's MSBERRY.
Okay.
For my online boutique is Cozy Essentials, COZI_ESSENTIALS. Mm-hmm. My foundation is Miss Berry Cares, and it's just Miss Berry Cares on Instagram. My event, Moms Who Rock, is just Moms Who ROC Rock.
Okay.
And let me say Facebook.
Okay.
Andrea Mayberry is ANDRIA.
Okay.
Mayberry MAYBERRY. Okay. If you can, I think I have the max for that, but just inbox me because I got to clear it out. I'm going to be talking to the active people.
No, I got you. Well, I'm very active up there, so I got you. Don't worry about that. Well, I just want to say I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for coming over here and doing the interview with me. I'm definitely very appreciative of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I am grateful, very humble, and I do appreciate your platform. Mm-hmm. to you, keep doing what you're doing. You are such an awesome host.
I appreciate
and your
that.
hospitality and your mannerisms is on point. So thank you.
I appreciate that very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody, make sure you follow her on all social media platforms. I appreciate you once again, Ms. Berry. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.